Broadcasting to you from the 47th Annual Houston Indoor Fishing Show, you're watching the Wave Podcast, the show that brings you closer to everyone and everything on the water. Brought to you by Boaters List.
Boaters List.
With your host, Taylor Super Cool Cooley, the director of Good Times and Tan Lines. Our guest today is Darrell Weigelt. He's a seasoned boat captain with a passion for all things on the water. Darrell, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great to be here. Houston's home, so it's nice to come here.
Well, we're really glad to have you. I heard you were a man of the water, so like Aquaman, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm a waterman. I've always been around the water. I fished, I surfed. I grew up around the lakes and then into the Gulf of Mexico, and then I went boating and a captain, so it took me a lot of places.
So tell me about your experience as a captain. How were you introduced and how did you embrace that role?
Well, I lived in Galveston, and while I was there, I met some people that were always going fishing, and then I started fishing with them in the bay, in the Gulf, and then I decided to follow my joy, and which was on the water, so I went to maritime school. And during school, I started working on offshore boats, washing them, going fishing, and I just started, once I graduated, instead of going into the industry, the commercial industry, I just stayed on pleasure boats and went fishing.
And, well, when we were talking earlier, you said it really never felt like you worked a day in your life.
No, I always wake up in the morning, and it wasn't a job, it was just by the way I lived my life. And so I liked, I never had a tough time waking up and starting my day. And then on the boats, everything was different. It wasn't routine, so it always changed, hour by hour.
Always exciting.
Always exciting.
Oh, I hope my life's like that. It definitely is like that at Boaters List. I hear you and Martin are longtime friends. How did the two of you meet? And if you can, embarrass him a little bit. I would love that.
Oh, I could do that a lot, but I won't do too much. Martin's wife, Cindy, I knew her before they got married. Her and my wife were good friends. So and her and Martine started dating. I met Martine, and of course our friendship grew. And then because he loves fishing as much as I do, we started fishing together. He'd come to Costa Rica when I was there. We fished the Gulf Coast together. So our friendship grew through fishing. And then we started doing other things together and spending a lot of time. I've helped him with his boats, and so we're good friends on that. And then he suggested this. He started up Boaters List, and the idea, he came to me and asked me if I'd had any ideas to add to it. So I threw out a few suggestions, and here it is, Boaters List.
So you definitely agree that with Martin, where Boaters List is a collaborative effort across from the guy at the bottom to people at the top.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's for everybody. It's just not for us professionals, but it's just anybody that's looking to enjoy the water. It's the source for them to go to and find places and things to do.
So, back to Martini.
Oh, I was supposed to embarrass you.
We're supposed to put him on the spot, or I guess we're not supposed to, but I took that on as a personal goal today.
Oh, golly, Martine's. We fished a tournament, and Martine is a man that many ideas and many ways to do things. Well, we had extra fuel tanks on the back of the boat, a lot of diesel fuel, and he had this idea that we were going to be able to transfer it an easy way, his way, during the middle of the night. Well, unbeknownst to both of us, that way wasn't working the best. So about halfway through the fueling process, we started leaking diesel fuel all over the back deck. So then we scrambled to try to catch the fuel before it went overboard. And of course, it was a comedy of errors. There were 4 of us on board, and we're climbing over each other. And of course, Martine is right in the middle of it. So that's one of my Martine stories.
He's full of great ideas, but he's not always spot on.
Well, he's a man on the go, and he thinks quick. And so I love him. I mean, he's a good guy.
He's hard not to love. What are some of the most useful resources as a boat captain?
Well, I mean, of course, Boaters List now, because it's so easy to access. It's going to be on the phone, so you can use the app when the app comes out, hopefully this week. So marinas, fuel stops, just everything. We're trying to involve it into finding spare parts when you break down someplace. Because for us boat captains, we'll pull in and it's always a battle when you have a problem and trying to find a repair part. And so Boaters List is going to provide that to show us who to go to locally instead of always calling home or calling our mechanic and having them, trying to find things for us. So that's on that sense, I think that's a major plus for Boaters List.
Just how convenient and easy it is.
Yeah, definitely it's going to be convenient, and then just the knowledge of what's locally. A lot of times in the past you don't know who's there, so you go elsewhere, and it could have been a closer location. So,
with somebody that could have gotten it done faster.
Right.
What is one thing you'll never leave the dock without?
Oh, my cell phone now.
Oh, well, what about the fishing poles?
Well, the fishing poles are always on the boat. I would never leave without those. The cell phone, it's just opened up everything. It has some charts now. I mean, you literally could go without an electronic package on your boat by just having your phone in front of you. And that's the technology that's come out in the last 5 years.
So considering that the phone is the one thing you're going to make sure is on you, and you've got Boaters List on it, you've got all your other apps and that are helpful on the boat.
Yep. You have navigation apps that you can put on, Boaters app. The cell phone works for a certain area. When we do international, of course, then it becomes a sat phone is always in. And I have a bag that I carry if I ever need to abandon ship, but fortunately it's never happened. But I always carry a ditch bag, and it has everything I would need to, survive in any situation.
Sunscreen in that bag?
A little bit.
I need to refill that.
Yeah, probably so.
What keeps you in the industry?
Oh, it's just my love. It's my life. I mean, I have my family at home, and they support me dearly. I've got a wife that's always allowed me to travel.
You might give her a shout out.
There she is. Hello, Robin. Yeah, hello. But they've allowed me to travel all these years, and it's really not a job. It's a life.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, yeah.
Well, I hope I'm living that lifestyle very soon.
I'm sure you can.
The Wave is sponsored and brought to you by Boaters List. Boaters List is designed as a multifaceted resource for all things on the water and for all those who love to enjoy what it has to offer. From large yacht activities to paddleboarding on your local lake and all things in between. Boaters List will always strive to make it better on the water. So, who influenced you the most probably to get into this field?
To get into it, golly, I worked for some really neat captains over the years, older gentlemen that when I was in my 20s, early 20s, and I guess they influenced me enough because they were all good guys. They were all professionals in their sense, so they trained me well. And then over the years, I've had multiple mates and deckhands and kids that are working with me. And I hope to instill that in them so they can go on. If they pursue the profession, they can do it just like I did.
Kind of keep the tradition going.
Yeah, and it's a dying breed. I mean, it's not, but then it is. I mean, there's a lot of young guns that are coming up that are exceptional fishermen, exceptional boatmen, but they just haven't done it long enough yet.
Yeah.
And so. But hopefully it continues on.
Where is your favorite place to fish? What do you catch, and why is that your favorite place?
Well, Costa Rica is probably my favorite place. I spent 5 years there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Fishing. The blue marlin fishery is incredible there. The sail fishing is incredible. Inshore fishing is great. The people are wonderful, and the country is a beautiful country. Plus, it's got surf, so I surf, and if I'm not fishing, I can go surfing there.
Well, you're on the water the whole time.
Yeah.
What marine industry events or shows do you look forward to each year, and why?
Fort Lauderdale Boat Show is the main one. It's gone on. It's kind of the reunion spot for everybody. You go there to see the latest and greatest, and it's a big show. It's spread over multiple venues, so you have to spend 2 or 3 days there just to see everything. Of course, tournament-wise, it's the Bisbee, which is the Black and Blue tournament in Cabo San Lucas. It's the biggest money tournament, so that's a venue that I like to go to. I was fortunate enough to fish that a few times in the past. And then here in the Texas coast, we have the Lone Star Shootout, which has really become a major tournament on the circuit. And then you have the Grand Championship Series that goes on in Alabama out of Orange Beach, and it also is in Louisiana and Florida out of Destin. So all those things are always interest me.
What would you say is your greatest strength, and how does that help you as a boat captain?
Oh gosh, great. I guess I roll with the punches. Nothing ever really bothers me too much. I think some people get upset that I don't get upset, because I try to look at it and take the calm view. It's helped me over the years with all kind of situations, not just running a boat, but dealing with the people, dealing with the owners. And in my other life at home, it's helped me I try to stay mellow.
Well, I know our COO refers to you as Captain Cool.
Yeah. I got that nickname
that's pretty
over
fitting.
the summer. It is, I think. I'll appreciate that name. I've been called worse things.
Oh, Martin frowned me as super cool Cooley. So we're the cool team.
Yeah, the cool team. I like that.
What are some problems you've encountered on the water, and how did you solve those problems before Boaters List?
Engine problems are just something you deal with all the time. You do a MacGyver thing, whatever it takes to get back to the dock, or you come back in on one engine and wing it. Fires on board. We had a fire not long ago on one of the vessels I was at, and that's a scary moment. And dealing with that, you make sure all your fire equipment is up to date and that it works properly. Some of us take that for granted because we just don't ever expect that. But then when it happens, you got to be prepared. So I think the main thing on that is just always checking the equipment before you go, and that goes all the way down to the guys in the kayaks or the canoes even. You got to have your life jacket, you got to have the proper stuff if an emergency arises, and so that's it. Just staying up and make sure everything's working properly.
How did that fire even start?
It was just a freak accident. We had a small leak that leaked into an electrical panel that caused it to short, and then one thing led to another. But we were able to, a good crew, a competent crew, we got it underway and solved right away before it got out of hand. And so we were able to continue on. Of course, we went to the next port and we fixed it. But, we had a good thing for an alarm. We had a smoke alarm that went off, and that let us know what was happening.
That's actually crazy. I've never heard of a fire on the boat.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, when you're out in the middle of nowhere and somebody says fire. So,
especially when you're surrounded by nothing but miles and miles of water, and the fire just happens to be on
right
the only solid ground you've got.
That's it.
Birdie Martini sent a question. He wanted it to be anonymous. I'm going to expose him. He wants to know, who is the best angler you've had on your boat?
Oh, golly. What a tough. Oh, of course Martine would have to be the best.
As he's jumping behind the camera.
As he's jumping back there.
Darrell, thank you so much for taking the time to come kick it with the crew today. We are so happy that you're a part of our team. Boaters List, better on the water. Catch you next time on The Wave. Make sure to join our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and follow our social media if you haven't already. Sponsor your marine business today on our website, www.boaterslist.com, with special promo code HOU2022 to receive special pricing during the fishing show.
Boaters List.